I'm Melody Fawcett, and today's date is January 13th, 2024. I'm in Seattle, Washington, and I am with my cousins, although technically first cousins once removed, and I am 60 years old.
I am Nathan Blunt, and I'm in Northern California with my sister and my first cousin once removed.
I am Hilary Rajchel. It is January 13th, 2024. I am in Seattle, Washington. Oh, and I am 55.
We're just here to talk about how we ended up finding each other because we spent most of our lives not knowing each other. It's been 10 years since we've known each other. So I'll start with mine. My mom and dad divorced when I was 3, and my dad died when I was 14. And in that 11-year span, I probably saw him 4 or 5 times. So I didn't know my dad. And I started getting curious about him. I really just started looking at all of the information I had. I knew he was adopted. I had his original birth certificate with his biological parents' names on it in the early 60s. We actually went down to San Francisco and spent time with his biological brother. I started kind of just writing this stuff down. So I went to the LDS Church library. Back then we didn't have ancestry.com. So when you were doing genealogy research, you had to sit for hours in a library. So I called my mom and said, where was this brother? What was his name? And she said it was Bill Groover. I'm like, oh, okay, that's my dad's name on his birth certificate. I called information and I got the number. So I called him. Hi, honey. And like right away, it was really cool. He said, hey, my son, Bill, lives up in your area. Here's his phone number. I call Bill the following weekend. We meet in person. We just hit it off. I was at his house almost every weekend, staying with his little family. And I met his sister. And then I met his dad, my uncle, Bill. He gave me some information about his mother. I met Bill's mom, who also had information about my dad and meeting his mother. He actually saw his mother. She was in a nursing home, and he saw her about 3 weeks before she died. When he started in the military, they met with her and she said, no, I'm not your mother. A friend used our names on the birth certificate. But she finally admitted that she was his mother. And then they both died very shortly after that. So I got that from Bill's mom. As I'm going through this journey and I'm hanging out with Bill, he says, hey, if you come across the name Sherry Lamoureux, I think that's my sister. I think I have a sister named Sherry Lamoureux. Fast forward, don't know ancestry.com, but there was a site called US GenWeb. I think it's still out there. People would post searches for like, I'm working on this last name, and people would post information. So I took all these printouts that I had gotten from all this microfilm, and I started transcribing the obituaries that I had found in these newspapers. Then it attaches like my email address to that. This is probably 1996, 97 at this point. So they've just been sitting out there for years and years. I'll pause there and Nathan, let you pick up the story from there.
I always had a close relationship with all 4 of my grandparents. I enjoyed seeing their family pictures. When I started doing genealogy, I was like super young. Then in my 20s, I started going to some of these LDS libraries in San Francisco, the San Bruno, the National Archives. So I spent a lot of time on the microfilm and the microfiche. And in terms of my mom's biological side, for years, I didn't do anything on it. I didn't feel like I had a hole in my being as my mom felt that she did, there was something missing. But I do know that my mom really felt like she was missing this other side of her. Maybe it was like 2012, 2013, I started thinking, as a birthday present for her, I will start doing her genealogy on that side, not knowing exactly where it would end up. In March of 2013, I was browsing this website that's devoted to San Francisco genealogy, and I came across something that had to do with my family that I was researching for my mother. I didn't know if this person was going to be related, even if it was a dead email address. I just sent out an email to this person, hoping that they could provide me with some additional information. Within 15 minutes, I got an answer back. We had a couple of back and forths with emails. She included a bunch of names that were names I had not heard of, but enough to where I knew that, oh, we are connected here. We're related. I think after maybe the second or third one, she just quickly sent, hey, give me a call, or can we talk on the phone?
If I can add to that, it was when you gave me the descendant list and you got to Sherry Lamoureux. That name was like, oh.
I had no idea how long this had been sitting there. You know how it is in genealogy back in those days, you would post something, you might never ever get anybody reply to it. So this was really fascinating to get somebody who didn't just answer, but answered back promptly, immediately. I've struck upon somebody here that we have a real genuine connection with.
Can I ask a question about that? How long did the original message or email sit, Mel, before Nathan found it?
My posting on the site, probably 16 years.
That is crazy. So we spoke. I was so excited to hear from Mel and to put the connection together, exactly how we were related, but even more excited for what this was going to do to my mom, because my sister and I had heard our entire life that my mother grew up without any cousins. She was the only child of an only child. She knew that she had an unknown number of siblings out there. She thought she had heard maybe one or two, but she wasn't necessarily sure. I was preparing her birthday present, April 23rd of 2013. This was going to be here's what I found for you, not here's the people that I found for you, right? When I spoke to Mel, of course, then Mel says I had met her siblings and so forth. So I was just blown away, and my mom might just freak out with this new knowledge, and that you were going to connect her with her siblings. 10 days later or something for Easter, we sat my mom down in her living room, and I said, all right, Mom, I'm going to give you an early birthday present right here. Your whole life, I've heard you say you have no cousins. Not only did I just find a cousin for you, we are going to connect with her on the phone again today. We called you, and she was just blown away, of tears, and she was quite shocked about all this.
Yeah, it was awesome. We connected really quickly and talked regularly after that. I called her my sister, friend, cousin, and then when my mom died, I added mother. It was as if we always knew each other. And then the following years, when I helped connect her with her brother Bill, and then they became buddies.
Best gift I ever gave my mom was the fact that sharing this whole other side from her. And mom always said she just had such a hole that she felt. And so meeting you guys, it was just like, oh my gosh, these people are definitely our relatives. We don't need DNA to tell us that. It's funny. Use the DNA to establish that connection, but then you're like, we already know.
Yep.
Absolutely. I cannot thank both of you enough for expanding our family. Like, how amazing is that? Because of the work that the both of you did, you have built connections for so many people, and we all get to reap the benefits of it. So thank you.